I've always felt perfumers were like so technical, like so intense that there was nothing casual about them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you take a Sharpie, right, and you smell it and you say, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, you like it. What difference does it make how it's made? It's just you like it. Now you want to get into it. I get it, right? But
Yeah.
certain people will be like, there's so you said, there's a lot of people out there who do talk, but in a very different way. I get it. Look,
Yeah.
a little background. My dad started the fragrance business in 1950s.
Okay.
So I grew up in the category for years. Um, I've learned the branding. I've seen it, and that's in the Middle East too. So I grew up in the Middle East. I grew up in Kuwait.
Okay.
So we're like the base is fine fragrance before candle.
Yeah.
So like when you're a kid, you have certain memories, like they'll never go away, right?
Yeah.
You're playing soccer or football, or you're in a store, or like whatever you're doing as a kid. For me, those memories were always in my dad's either office or my dad's functions or my dad's warehouse or my dad's 18 million fragrances that have been sitting around,
Yep.
touching, feeling, understanding, how the cap is working and all that, and re-merchandising the warehouse. Forget about merchandising. What do you call it? That was my go to my dad's warehouse, and he would say, okay, reorganize these shelves and understand how many pieces there are. I understood the value of shelf space. So much like other things that are part of my childhood, where you look at an item that's big and bulky, right? Takes a lot of space. But a little lipstick like this, right? A lipstick, which is $60, right? You put 10 of them, that's 600. You put 1,000 of them, which is a space that big, that's $6,000. But you get if you're in the pillow business, you need for $6,000, you need 5,000 square feet, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So, unrelated subjects, but that's my background and real estate development. Just so you know why I got into the candle business and why this way, why I would take a candle and turn it into this. What made me do it? People always ask me that question. Real estate developer. I don't know if you have ever kind of watched the shows or actually dive into the role of a real estate developer. The level of risk is a monster, right? You're spending $20 million building a building that you've spent 7 to 10 years compiling dirt, the real estate, getting approvals and the challenges and so forth, and you have no income coming from it. Then you go out and get a loan, a $7-8 million loan or $10 million loan, and you build this thing. And there's along the way, there's 8,000 moving parts that if you make one mistake, you're over. It's over for you, right? So the level of focus to the detail and how the consumer, and it all comes back to this. This is where I answer the question of why do I do what I do the way I do it, is because at the end, what the consumer experiences is what I reverse engineer. Okay. So in a building, if 3,000 moving parts, let's say if you make the ceiling height too low, no matter how well you designed it, that one decision, you're finished. Right? So part of what I used to do was in the real estate was the experience of the nose was important. So you take a regular glass jar, you put it on the table, and you make it smell great, which I was doing great. I did my own perfume for every single model, right? So for every model, let's say model A, model B, model C, each one had a different fragrance. We would have a fragrance for that model. But the important part was, the real cool part was, 3 weeks later, when the customer called me back, they never said model, the Joanne model or the Carlisle model. They always said the model that smelled this way. and then was
Oh, yeah.
describing it.
Right?
Because it just that, when you have that, when you brand a cow, it's with a searing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I branded in their brain that moment when they walk in and they open the door and they have a certain feeling. How it connects, the dots that connect is with the fragrance for me. Has always been that way. But the problem has always also been the jars were so ugly.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. They were so ugly. So along the way, I'm like, hey, if everything is so meticulously designed in an apartment, molding, this, furniture, coloration, we had everything just perfectly done.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a crappy jar for the fragrance, because then you're hiding it. So little by little, I started doing this, little by little, and then the market died. I'm like, hey, I love this. I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I had no idea about China. No idea. I got on a plane and I went. Literally, I knew no one. I knew nothing. I knew nothing. Zero. And I said, I'm going to travel the world, and I did. Between China, Spain, wherever. I looked all over them. And I figured it out. Literally figured it out. So,
wow.
Yeah. That was the start of it, if you care to know.
No, definitely. How many years ago was that when you kicked off the candle business?
The transition, well, this part of it, where it's the upstairs part of it, it's a couple of years old.
All right.
I ran the business backwards. Most people create an upstairs and then they go downstairs. Definition of upstairs and downstairs is high-end boutique stores. They build a brand, and then when they saturate that, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to start selling at discount stores.
Yeah.
I did it the reverse. I wanted to learn the ropes in a discount store because you can buy volume there.
Yeah.
So I went right to the gutter first. If I can live on pennies, I can live anywhere, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the gutter business, when I call it the gutter business, it's you're making pennies, but you're bringing in hundreds of thousands of units. With the hundreds of thousands of unit, what you're doing is you're learning the chain. How do you supply a company that has 800 stores? How do you package that? How do you supply it? How do you feed it? How do you feed the animal? How do you keep it fresh? How do you do the seasons? When do you have, do you know that by February, holiday of the next year is done? If you don't have an order for February of this year, coming year, for 2020, if you don't book all your orders, you can't be ready.
That's right.
They got to be in port, right? They got to be in possession in end of August. So September, they're in their doors. On October, holiday begins, right? So which means by February, you have to have your order. Like all these intense learning curve was literally like 4 or 5 years. I put my, I follow somebody on Instagram and he says, eat shit. Well, before I listened to him, I ate a lot of shit. A lot.
So, you're still smiling, man. That's the main thing.
Oh, you have no clue. I don't think any one of us are immune to any of life's Mike Tyson punches. You know what I mean by Mike Tyson? You know who it is, definitely. Right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Our world knows Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole world, actually, I would rather the world always get a Mike Tyson punch, every person. Because that's really, at the end, you're really a weak, not a softie if you haven't been punched that way.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Although he's a little chilled. Speaking of Mike, he's a bit more chilled nowadays with his CBD, his marijuana business, right?
It's a trend. It's a trend. It's a trend. It's a trend. It's like anything else. Consistency of the basics is always the winner. The consistency of basics, right? You want to do like a shaving blade. Make it very good. Make it reasonable. Make it well designed. do the good service, continually innovate. It's the formula isn't that complicated. It's just nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to do it.
Yeah, they want to do the fun, what's hot now stuff, and then you have to keep reinventing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you need to know? Let me know. Like, what do you don't make any? You make things right now, or this is a blog that you're kind of like developing for yourself?
So a blog I'm developing because I spoke to so many people and deal with so many people in the industry from when I was in the wholesale business, like from incense wise, and from manufacturing to distribution to retail customer to wholesale customer to just talking to people about what they like, what they didn't like, branding, all that sort of thing. So then I'm a little bit removed from it now because I took a bit of a break. So I thought I just wanted to talk to people out there who have a passion for what they do. And because it's fragrance related, it didn't really matter to me like how or what they do. Just when I see someone with a spark and someone who does something in a really cool way, like you, for example, when I saw your videos, I just thought, yeah, I got to talk to Raffi because I want to know more about what makes this guy tick. So that's why I was messaging you.
I'm going to answer that particular question. I'm going to revert back to what I said before. I don't believe that people have the freedom to make mistakes. Most people don't give themselves the freedom to screw up. It's a freedom. Honestly, it's a freedom. If you really think about it, if you are prepared to screw up, you do a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And if you're prepared, like, I have a policy. When I do a video, it's one take. If I can't do it in one take, I'm not doing it. Like, it wasn't worth it. It's not, the subject matter wasn't interesting. It's not authentic. It's just, nothing's working, right? So I'll scan it. But, every video that you've seen is pretty much one take.
Yep.
The reason behind it is that I feel that when somebody's sitting next to me and we're talking, that their reaction, their facial muscles, their ups and downs of listening and talking and the back and forth, all that is important to the viewer in the way they see it as real or not.
Yep.
Right?
I get you.
So a surprise reaction or a smile or like ew or whatever it is, I want to know it, right? I really want to know it. I get a lot of shit from my suppliers, by the way, because I call them out. I don't call them out. I like, it goes cold, right? I mean, I show it to the customer and they're like, I don't like this. And the perfumer gets insulted because they spent a lot of time. Well, we're not here to make the perfumer happy.
Yeah.
I always say this little card, which is the Amex card, when somebody swipes it, that means we all did our job right.
Yep. Exactly.
Right? Because unless it's swiped, you didn't do your job right. You really didn't. Whatever your job is. Right? Because and the best part of it is when they swipe again. See, that's the best part.
Of course, yeah. The repeat stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
And why is that? Because that is when you develop a community. And the community is when you have a brand.
Yeah.
A product is not a brand.
No.
People are a brand.
Yes.
Prada is not Prada because it makes amazing handbags. Let me tell you, there are a lot of other people who make better handbags than Prada. There are a lot of other people who make better furs than Prada. But Prada has a community, right? Everyone, they have a community of people, and that loyalty from that customer, right, is super important. And it is, and like I say, it's like a pizza pie, right? Everything matters. If you order a pizza pie, you're supposed to get 8 slices. You're not going to accept a 7-slice pie and pay $8 for 8 slices. So the guy must deliver you 8 slices. For you to swipe, you got to get 8 slices. I consider the 8 pieces many different things. I call them service, product, innovation, loyalty. All the things of the pie have to be there for you to have a community.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's like a car. You know, the cylinders have to be working, all of them. You can't have an eight cylinder car, cylinder car, and then only 7 of them working. The car won't work. Hold
exactly.
On. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're right.
My wife was calling through.
Okay. No, totally agree with you, man. The message that you just gave me, the answer you just gave me, is exactly what I've been trying to make people understand in India. A lot of these big time exporters in the incense industry, they just don't understand that product is not a brand. And they've been doing it the same way for decades, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And now the tide is changing the way people relate to a lot of these products, and the people who are buying them now, the younger generations, they're just so disconnected from a lot of these products because it's the products that their parents were buying and their grandparents were buying. And I'm trying to say, you got to make like you said, you got to build your brand by community. You got to touch these people in a different way. You got to relate to them, share your story.
That's the key. That's the key. It's not a different way. It's just you got to relate.
Yeah.
You just have to relate, and sadly, when that mentality, the overseas mentality, which it's very sad, is what I call the words that come out of their mouth is let's cooperate, let's have a relationship, when in fact it's I'm a one-hit wonder for them, because as long as they get a deal from me, like, okay, we got this deal today. Like it's like, how do we make, when a manufacturer wants to send a product, if I ask for the Pantone color on this Sharpie to be this Pantone and it's a little off, the off for them is, well, it's similar.
Yeah.
But that's not what I asked for. I asked for
exactly.
this Pantone, which is 917. You gave me 915 because that's what you had in stock.
Yeah.
But I asked for 917. That is so wrong. And they have that particular mentality, it's close enough. It's okay. It's not. A customer of ours here, if they receive a candle that, even if it's broken, they know it's not my fault. They know it's UPS's fault or FedEx's fault or whoever's fault it is, right? But if I don't stand behind it, they understand it, but they're not coming back to me again. They get it. They're not going to fault me for it, but they're going to say, well, it was one candle. He could have sent me a new one, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Right? But he didn't.
I hear you.
The thing is like, but he didn't. The customer is like, for them, they're paying $165 for this, right? For them, that's a lot of money. And for anyone, it's a lot of money. And for it to come, one prong to come broken because in shipping it got punched, right? And then me saying, no, it's not my fault. I can't. Yeah. I'm in the right. But is that the right thing to do? It's that little it's those little things that matter so much. It's, there's an old saying, your entire body, the surface of your body, let's say, is got 10 square meters on it, for example, right? You can get a little splinter that is like right there, right?
Oh yeah.
Your whole system goes away.
Yeah.
Because it bugs the heck out of you. That little splinter here. Now you're mentally screwed because it's bugging you. You can't get it out. You're trying to go like this, and to get it out, you do everything you can to get that little splinter out. I say that, but that is exactly how people are. No matter how much good you did, you put a little splinter in them.
Doesn't matter how, exactly, man. Doesn't matter how good your product is, whatever else you've done for them, whatever the last flavor that you put in their mouth is the one they're going to taste for the rest of the time. So
reality, it's reality. And the good thing about that is that the positive compound effect is very powerful, but the reverse is true. The negative compound effect would crush you.
Yeah.
If you don't do it.
Yeah.
If you don't do it. Because the compound positive effect works in your favor. They go tell a friend, that one tells another friend, and that one says they swear by it. They write you the review. They do everything for you. So
Yeah.
I know we're talking regular business now rather than fragrance, but
Doesn't matter.
What difference does it make what I make? I could make shoes. I could make skirts. I could make pencils. What difference does it make what you make?
Yeah. Yeah.
The fragrance at the end of the day is an item that just I happen to feel that I want to be really clear about something. I am not a fragrance expert by any means. I don't look at myself that way. What I am is what I consider myself more than anything else is a person who understands emotion.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was about to talk about. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
That I understand really well.
Yeah. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah. And, you know, I also understand how normal people inherently are very selfish, meaning they think about themselves, right? So if you understand that as a business, you give 10 times more than you take.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody is about themselves. So you go to a party. What's the first thing you think about? You don't think about who's looking good. You're thinking about, are you looking good?
Of course.
Think about a girl, right? What does a girl think about when she walks into a party? She's not looking. If she's looking at the other girls, she's comparing herself.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Human nature is inherently very, very selfish. Do I look good? Do I rub? Do I smell it? Am I tall enough? Am I good looking enough? Am I this? Is my hair right? Am I going bald? Why does this guy have more money than me? I'm like, it's the mind fuck that goes around between like comparing or thinking about yourself against other. Let go. You know, but that naturally, that by the way, is what drives consumerism because they want to feel very good, right?
Most definitely. Yeah.
So, you know, fragrance is that. Fragrance is just a feeling. It's just a feeling. Fragrance is a feel. So
transitioning from the feeling to the emotion to the formulations that do you come up with most of those formulations that you speak about, or is it you sit down with others in your company and have a meeting about it, or is it mainly your creation in terms of the formulations?
Well, a perfume, usually the people in the office, they're more on the design side. When it comes to the fragrance, it's just me and the perfumer. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason it's me and the perfumer is, and you know what? Truthfully, it's not even the perfumer. Perfumers, for me, they're great at what they do, but they are more dangerous because they are they're not connected to the world at large. So I prefer to go to their sales person as a conduit to manage the perfumer.
Right.
Because the salesperson, right, sees, hey, you know, this particular fragrance in this combination that Raffi wants would work best if we do this for the customer base, right? The perfumer is not business oriented. The perfumer is just creating a perfume.
Yep.
And I try to stay away. It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny how the houses that I deal with, I don't deal with the perfumers, and generally they don't. I've tried to deal with them. It's like talking to and like writing a novel and talking to someone that I don't connect with. It's hard to connect with a perfumer.
Okay.
It's really hard to connect with a perfumer on a very street level.
All right.
It's very, very hard on a street level because they're not there. They don't have boots on the ground. You know, you saw the girls yesterday that I had here in the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when they tell me that absinthe smells like the bar that they go to because absinthe is an alcohol, she's not a perfumer, right? But she's got a particular connection to the world of what I call boots on the street. She's my boots on the street.
Yeah.
Like, boots on the field, right? The soldiers on the street. They're the ones who experience the bars, the Victoria's Secrets, the Bloomingdale, Debenham malls. They experience all that a lot on a day-to-day basis in a very consumer-oriented perspective than does a perfumer. Any day of the week, I will take the opinion of 10 people on the street than take the opinion of a perfumer.
Yeah, I get you. I understand. So having said that, when you go to your perfume houses with what you want, is there a lot of back and forth until it's right, or is the process that you take is pretty good by just dealing with the salesperson and then they go to the perfumer?
I have come to a point where developing fragrance, here's what happens in the fragrance world. In the fragrance world, they have like 100 like me, right? So they have and when they're creating a fragrance for me, every time they create a fragrance, the formula is a code, and they save that code, right?
Yep.
So in the past, I used to spend a year reformulating. I don't spend a year reformulating anymore.
Okay.
I write a very strong description of what I'm looking for. And what they do is they go into their library and everything that they've little by little developed, and from that begins my point of beginning point. So I'll get 20 of existing things that other people, let's say, have done or I have done in the past that haven't worked. It wasn't for the right occasion, and I take this and this. I'm like, no, we got to put this. You smell this, and you got to put more of that here. Combine it and powerhouse it, right? We did the what's called a orange blossom. Orange blossom, I did back and forth a lot, and the part that became difficult was orange blossom is a very direct. It has a very direct punch to it. If you grow up in the regions where orange blossom was prevalent. But then you can take orange blossom and create what I call mood orange blossom, like a vibe.
Yeah.
Right? Tones of other things in it. The direct orange blossom is easy. The vibe is not. And the vibe took more time.
Okay.
It depends on your objective, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So I have my winning horse is my Gardenia. That was a year and a half in the making.
Wow.
Yeah, that was I must have driven the people insane. Because there was a level of Gardenia is very difficult. It smells synthetic if it's not done right.
Yeah.
And my Gardenia, I will tell you that people from another floor in this building will walk up and find me. You know the cartoon characters? You remember, what do you call Pepe Le Pew?
Yeah, the skunk. Yeah.
Remember, like, when he used to, like, he wants to get the girl, like the cat, and he has, like, the aroma, going around, and it hits her nose and, like, drags her back. And that's exactly the feeling, right? The aroma travels, and then it's just like it drags them right in here. But that took a while.
Interesting. It's funny you mentioned.
And by the way, those visuals are very important for me.
Oh, definitely. There's so many, like, because fragrance, like, just it's funny when you talk to people how when they describe fragrance and the different little tags and catches that people use to describe, like people are visual, or they say, oh, like you just said, with that cartoon, just I could see it in my head straight away. It's like, yeah, I get just drew them in,
Right. And that becomes, the reason I do my videos with other people is because I never know what they're going to recall from their past.
Yeah.
And that recall, a lot of times happens to be universal.
Uh-huh.
A lot of recall is very universal. And when it's coming from someone else, the recall is relatable.
Yeah.
And because we are in the fragrance business, that through this machine, I can't have you smell anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I can surely with these videos, it allows the viewer to authentically relate to the recall of that person who's talking in a very, like, you look at a person and their eyes go, like, why do you think the eyes go back? Because they're thinking.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
They're like the recall is coming back.
Mm.
That's what's happening. They're like pausing and they're creating them. They're like the database is turning back on again and saying, oh, when I was a kid, blah blah blah, I was here or I was there and this happened, and I remember I met this girl and she was wearing this fragrance and she smelled like this, whatever the case, whatever it is, right? I used to work in a car factory and this thing smells like the tire department.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
so cool.
Yeah, and that's really
That's
what
what I mean.
ends up.
Yeah.
Those recalls are really key.
That's what's so cool. Like you said, you get your 20 people off the street, they all smell your candle, and they'll all give you their own story. That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen my older videos that I used to do a lot more. Now I don't. I'm doing it more in the office. I literally used to go to the street and say, hey, I have a gift for you. I'm going to give you a candle. On condition that you open it, you smell it, you tell me what you think of it, and I can videotape it.
That's nice. Pretty good. I haven't seen those videos, no.
Yeah, you got to look at it. It's in my older, what do you call?
That's still in your Instagram profile, if I just keep scrolling back.
You got to scroll back. You froze up, by the way.
Am I back?
No, not yet. You're frozen. On my part, you're frozen.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
Everything's
as long as you'll keep yours.
That's cool.
Other than that, what else is important for you?
Oh, I don't know. We covered some good stuff, man. I'm happy with this conversation.
No, really. Is there anything else that's important for you that is kind of like? Is there a curiosity that you have something you need to kind of like open up and let's chat about?
Well, you were mentioning the gardenia, how that took you 18 months before you got it and you were happy with it. You were saying is that your bestseller? You were saying?
Yeah, 4 to 1. For every $1 that I sell 4 of the gardenia. 3 more. Like I sell $4 to 1 of every other one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. The gardenia is the killer. And again, do you know Le Labo? They made a Santal.
Santal?
Yes.
I don't know the brand or the company.
Le Labo. It's called Le Labo. They made a Santal. Uber successful.
Okay.
Successful. But there's always in a fragrance house. There's always one winning horse. It just works that. For what reason? Like one really kills it.
Yep.
My gardenia is my killer, but I do have a couple other ones that are really now. Like we just did a myrrh and redwood, and we did a Palo Santo. Those 2, incredible.
Palo Santo. Is that a standalone one, or is that with the myrrh and the redwood?
They're standalone. Each is different because the Palo Santo has a very churchy burnt ash type of background, where the myrrh redwood is very different. Like they have very different what do you call like you can tell the difference between the 2.
Oh yeah.
Like you can tell myrrh, you can tell myrrh, incense, redwood, woody fragrance. The other one is the Palo Santo is it's very spiritual, if that's the right word.
Definitely. When you smell those Palo Santo is starting to get pretty popular in Australia. Like obviously the white sage has been huge for ages, but Palo Santo for smudging is starting to get pretty popular here. And so just, yeah, I used to wholesale that stuff as well, and just that fragrance of that wood is amazing, unbelievable.
Yeah. If you have the right mix of spiritual, how do you say, layering inside, right?
Yeah.
Because remember, Palo Santo by definition is a wood that's being burnt, and it's supposed to keep the bad spirits out, bring the good spirits in, and so forth. But also, because it's in the spirit world, we're all used to, when we go to church or we go to temple, we go to wherever we're going, we're burning something.
Yeah.
And there's a common denominator of a burn there.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you don't develop that properly, it can smell so-so. It's got to be developed right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you,
and mind you, here's the big thing. Like, I don't decide on the fragrance because I truly understand it, by the way. Sometimes I decide on a fragrance because something in my gut tells me this is the right one.
Yeah.
And then through time, it sort of unravels. Oh, I decided because I begin to realize why I decided it.
Yes. Yes.
And that is a really cool sort of experience as you go along.
Definitely.
Very cool experience.
And the Palo Santo, you just released that, did you say? Just recently?
A couple months ago, yeah. For winter, for winter coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, some of the autumn stuff that you just been talking about, fall, autumn, sounds really cool. Like the pumpkin spice and the what was the other one? There was something else.
God, I have to tell you, it is so not my alley. But
yeah,
I get the request, which means I have an obligation as a brand to not necessarily satisfy everyone, to put the DNA of the brand in what's requested, if I can, naturally. If I can, I feel I have an obligation for that. So doesn't mean I have to like it. What it means is I have to make sure that it is inside of my company DNA, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So the complexity that is, like, if you do, what a collage is, right? You do a mood board, right?
Yep.
When you look at each image on the collage, it only tells you a certain story. But then when you step back and you look at it, you get an understanding of what the whole feeling is.
Yeah.
Maybe individually I don't like that fragrance, but does it fit in my big collage? And that's the key for me.
Okay.
Get it? So I might not like it. It's like any collage. You might hate a single picture, but in the collage, it fits, as long as it has certain common denominators.
Most definitely.
Right. So when they develop those pumpkin, what do you call? They're the absinthe and again Santal, but spice. You see what's trending right now is Santal. So with the spice, we layered it with our level of fragrance, sort of bouquet, if you want to call that. So that's what we did. And at the end of the day, I still say I don't like it. As you know, yesterday I don't like pumpkin spice, but the girl did like it. But then she still loved the absinthe the most.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
You see, at the end, I'm not wrong about our DNA. Not. And I keep proving that to myself by saying I am not a pumpkin spice company.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But I don't know. So that's it.
But still, you might not be a pumpkin spice fan, but you've done it in a way, like you say. You put your stamp on it, like you put the brand on the cow's bum, like you said.
Yes, I did. Yes.
What's your favorite vest? What's your favorite holder? Like the skull, the elephant. Do you have a favorite that you've come up with?
I'm
Just some aesthetically kind of thing.
It's a fair question, but it's not a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I develop something, I fall in love with it. It's like having a third child or fourth child or fifth child. For different reasons, I like them all. There are ones that I like. I'm developing a reed diffuser line now that I think it's absolutely stunning. But I'm coming to realize that, it might flop or it might do great. I just don't know. I just have to go with what I read in the market. And when I say I read in the market, I am not catering to the market. I'm catering to myself in mind of the market. Very different.
Yes. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right? Because if you chase something, you get exhausted. If you create for yourself, you will never run out of inspiration. So I'd rather create for myself than chase anything. It's like an athlete, right? I want, if I'm an athlete, I want to behave in that in like if I'm a runner, I want to run at my pace. Let them chase me at my pace. Let them try to figure me out.
Yeah.
But no matter what you do, the point of me running and them chasing is they're still behind me.
Yeah.
As
That's the
long
difference.
as they're behind me, they gotta continuously be figuring me out, which means they're always not thinking about themselves.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Huge problem.
That's the difference. Just the focus shift. You're focusing on yourself while they're focusing on you. So it's a completely different dynamic. Yeah.
And that, it takes a while. I'm 55 years old, and it takes a while for you to figure that out. I don't go to the competitors' showrooms. I could care less what anyone's doing. And I say that not with disregard and disrespect. When they come out with something, they deserve all the accolades in the world. They do. Yeah. They really do. If they do a good job, they deserve a big, hats off to them, whoever.
Yeah.
But that's what works for them. They figured it out. They worked hard. They ate shit. They didn't sleep at night. They had resources. They allocated resources. They looked at and dissected something, and they tried to put it all together. They deserve it. And I don't, if I didn't do it.
I really love what you're saying. It's a really great way to look at your position as, your own position in the business, rather than focusing on what everyone else is doing. You're concentrating on what you're doing and what's working for you. So it's great.
Right. And you're absolutely right. And I'll go to my customers. Like if I go tomorrow and start making candles, but very standard candles, because hey, that's trending. It's and that's exactly what that is. It's a copycat of what's trending.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing. You saw the Biggie thing that I'm doing, right?
Which one, sorry?
Biggie Smalls. You know who he is?
Yes.
You saw that thing that I'm doing, right?
I saw the video. You were on the computer with it. Yeah.
Most people would be like, "Why are you making a candle like that?" I don't have an answer. I really don't. And not having an answer is
another gut feeling that this is the next one. This is what I should be doing.
Yeah. And because storytelling and giving respect to a person who rose from Brooklyn, in the ashes of Brooklyn, and was able to be able listen to a beat and come up with lyrics like on the fly. It's amazing. And he's passed. And how do you provide? Because it's a learning process for me too, right? The whole process is a learning process. How do you take somebody who's already is such a brand, and then create a product around it? And let me tell you something. If I make a mistake, they're all going to call me out on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's a million people who know a lot more than I do about Biggie. They know them more intimately. They've been with it. They know every detail about him. If I make a mistake, hang on. If I make a mistake, then I'm going to be, called out. So how do I give that respect to him? So it's an exercise for me. This whole thing is an exercise of how do I revive somebody who's passed and create a product that is on par to what he's accomplished, and tell his story in a way where somebody would want to bring them to their house. Because remember, at the end of the day, you're inviting me to your home by swiping your credit card, right? Yep. So I got to be worthy of your home.
That's right. But if you've taken all your steps, done what you've set out to do, you're happy with what you've created. At the end of the day, if people criticize it, will you really care? If you know that within you've done your job. So.
Well, I'm hoping that I don't make a mistake. That's why I'm double, triple, quadruple checking everything as I go. And I'm also involving my audience base to help me. Yeah. Because they, cumulatively, we know a lot better than I do.
That's it. The power of many.
Yeah. So that's it. What else is there to talk about?
I don't know. It's been a great conversation, man. I've enjoyed it.
Me as well. You asked me to talk, and I said yes, and I spilled my guts for you. So I hope I hope it's good for your blog.
Most definitely. Right. I really appreciate it, Raffi. I won't keep you too much longer. I know you got a busy. Am I saying it right? Is that Raffi, the right pronunciation? Yeah. Raffi.
Yes.
And the right pronunciation of the company's name?
Thompson Ferrier.
Okay.
Yes. It's the two places I met my wife. Thompson Ferrier was a restaurant, and Thompson was a location that we finally connected with. So those are two locations that meant something to us.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Now I know the story. Beautiful.
All right, man. I'm going to run.
Yep. I really appreciate it.
Enjoy the day. And when you post, you're going to tag me, I'm assuming.
Most definitely. Yep.
Enjoy your day.
You too, man. Have a great one.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye.